Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you something. Last Tuesday, I was standing in my kitchen at 6:47 in the morning. Kids screaming, dog barking, and I poured my coffee and I held that mug for a second. And I thought, this might be the one thing keeping me alive right now. And I was not being dramatic.
Right, and here's the thing, Emma. You might have been more correct than you realized. Because the research on coffee and cellular aging is genuinely fascinating. And it goes well beyond just it wakes you up.
Which, okay, that got my attention immediately. Because I always felt a little guilty about how much I love coffee. Like, is this a wellness habit or a coping mechanism?
Probably both. But today, we're making the case, backed by actual science, that your morning ritual might be doing something remarkable at the cellular level. We're talking about how coffee interacts with aging itself.
The coffee paradox. Stick with us, because this one is going to change how you look at your mug. Let's get into it.
So let's define what we're actually talking about here. Because fighting aging at the cellular level sounds like marketing copy. What does it mean?
Right, I had the same reaction. Like, is this one of those things where someone stretches a small study into a miracle claim?
Exactly the right skepticism. So let's start with the basics. Coffee contains hundreds of bioactive compounds. The most studied is caffeine, obviously. But there are also polyphenols, specifically chlorogenic acids, and a compound called cafestol. Each of these interacts with the body differently.
Okay, polyphenols. I've heard that word a lot. Break it down for someone who's on their second cup and still not fully awake.
Polyphenols are plant compounds that act as antioxidants. They reduce oxidative stress, which is essentially the cellular damage that accumulates as we age. Think of oxidative stress like rust on a car. Polyphenols help slow the rusting.
That is the most satisfying analogy you have ever given me. Okay, so coffee has these rust fighters in it. What does the actual research say?
Right, so here's where it gets genuinely interesting. A 2021 study published in the European Heart Journal, drawing on data from the CAFE study, found that habitual coffee consumption was associated with a longer telomere length. And telomere length is one of the most accepted biomarkers of cellular aging.
Okay, telomeres. I've heard this before, but remind me why they matter.
Think of telomeres like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Every time a cell divides, those tips get a little shorter. When they get too short, the cell stops functioning properly. Shorter telomeres equal faster biological aging.
And coffee drinkers had longer ones? Like, meaningfully longer?
The association was statistically significant, yes. Now, this is observational data, so we can't say coffee directly caused the longer telomeres, but the pattern was consistent enough to warrant serious attention.
Here's the thing, though. Correlation versus causation is something I know we always have to flag. But I love that the research is pointing in this direction.
And it doesn't stop there. Research from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, published across multiple cohort studies, found that regular coffee drinkers showed reduced markers of systemic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is now considered a primary driver of age-related disease.
So we're talking about things like heart disease, cognitive decline, even some cancers?
Precisely. The researchers, including Dr. Frank Sachs, have pointed to coffee's anti-inflammatory properties as potentially contributing to lower rates of type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, and certain liver conditions among habitual drinkers.
Y'all, I want to be clear, we're talking wellness here, not medicine. We are not saying coffee treats or prevents anything, but these associations in large population studies are pretty striking.
Well said. And this brings us to something called autophagy, which is a word your listeners may have heard in fasting conversations.
Oh yes, the cellular cleanup crew.
Exactly. Autophagy is the process by which cells essentially take out their own trash, recycling damaged components. A 2018 study in the journal Cell Cycle, led by researchers at the University of Graz in Austria, found that coffee, both caffeinated and decaf, triggered autophagy in mice within hours of consumption.
Wait, decaf too? So this isn't purely a caffeine story?
That's the paradox part of the episode title. Many of these cellular benefits appear to be tied to the polyphenols, not the caffeine, which means people who are caffeine sensitive aren't necessarily locked out of these benefits.
Okay, that is genuinely good news. Because I have a lot of listeners who've had to switch to decaf for various reasons and felt like they were missing out.
The mechanisms differ slightly, but the antioxidant load in decaf is comparable to regular coffee. So the cellular conversation is still happening.
Now let's talk about who this really matters for, because our listeners are 25 to 65 plus. We've got sandwich generation folks managing their own health and their parents' health. We've got pre-retirees thinking about longevity. How does this land differently across life stages?
Great question. For younger adults in their 30s, the inflammation angle is most relevant, building habits now that reduce chronic inflammation over decades. For people in their 40s and 50s, the cognitive data is compelling.
Tell me about the cognitive piece, because brain health is something I think about a lot.
A large European study, the CAID study, found that midlife coffee consumption of 3 to 5 cups per day was associated with a 65% decreased risk of dementia and Alzheimer's in later life. That's from research published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease by Dr. Mia Kivipelto's team in Finland.
65%. That stopped me in my tracks when I first read that.
It's an association, not a guarantee. Genetics, lifestyle, sleep, all of these factor in. But for a legal, widely available dietary habit, that number is remarkable.
And for the 65-plus crowd, the pre-retirees and active seniors we love?
The liver data is particularly relevant here. Research from the National Cancer Institute found that coffee consumption was associated with reduced risk of liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. And since liver function tends to decline with age, that's meaningful for older adults.
Okay, so now I need to be the honest voice here, because I know some of you are thinking, this sounds too good. What are the real caveats?
Good, let's go there. First, quantity matters enormously. The benefits in most studies cluster around 2 to 5 cups per day. Beyond that, you start seeing diminishing returns and potential cardiovascular strain for some people.
And I'll add, the way you drink your coffee matters. A triple shot caramel syrup situation with a name 12 words long is not the same as black coffee or coffee with a splash of real milk.
Right, the added sugars and ultra-processed creamers can introduce their own inflammatory effects that offset some of what we've discussed. Second caveat, individual variation. Caffeine metabolism is partly genetic. Some people carry variants of the CYP1A2 gene that means they process caffeine much more slowly.
Which explains why some people can have espresso at 9 p.m. and sleep fine. And some of us, namely ME, have half a cup afternoon and lie awake planning things at 2 a.m.
Precisely. And third, for people with anxiety disorders, heart arrhythmias, or certain GI conditions, the risks of caffeine may outweigh these benefits. Always worth discussing with a healthcare provider.
So the practical question is, how do we actually make this work in real life? Because knowing coffee might help at the cellular level is one thing, optimizing it is another.
Right. Here's what I've learned from the research. Timing is everything. Caffeine works best if you delay your first cup 90 to 120 minutes after waking. This is based on work from neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman at Stanford relating to adenosine clearance and cortisol rhythms.
Oh, I've tried this, and I'll be honest, the first week was rough. But then I noticed my energy actually evened out across the morning instead of crashing hard by 11.
Exactly the intended effect, and for the cellular benefits, quality of the bean matters. Darker roasts have slightly less chlorogenic acid than lighter roasts because the roasting process degrades some polyphenols.
So the specialty light roast I've been snobbily defending is actually vindicated by science?
Somewhat, yes, though the difference is modest. Don't overthink it.
And hey, if you're finding this episode useful, this would be a great moment to hit like and subscribe on wherever you're listening or watching. It genuinely helps us reach more people who are looking for this kind of real, evidence-based wellness conversation.
We appreciate it enormously. Right, so let's address the skeptic in the room. Because some people will say, this all sounds convenient. Coffee is everywhere, people love it, of course there's research framing it positively.
And that's fair. Publication bias is a real thing in nutrition science.
It is. But the coffee research is unusually consistent across populations, methodologies, and research institutions. The Harvard data, the Finnish CAID study, the European cohort studies, they're not all funded by the coffee industry. And the biological mechanisms we've discussed, autophagy, telomere preservation, anti-inflammatory pathways, these are independently established processes. The coffee data fits into a coherent picture.
So it's not just one friendly little study, it's a whole body of evidence pointing in the same direction.
With appropriate caveats, yes. And I think that's the honest, nuanced position.
Here's the thing, though. I also want to acknowledge that not everyone loves coffee. Some people genuinely can't tolerate it, and that is completely fine. Green tea has its own polyphenol profile and its own research base. You are not missing out on longevity if coffee's not your thing.
Brilliant point, Emma. The underlying principle is reducing oxidative stress and inflammation through dietary polyphenols. Coffee is one excellent vehicle, not the only one.
Okay, so if you take one thing from today's episode, here's what I want it to be. Your morning coffee, the one you might have felt vaguely guilty about, is doing something real in your body. The research on inflammation, cellular aging, and brain health is genuinely encouraging. Drink it mostly black or close to it, time it well, enjoy it without guilt.
And if I may add the single most practical note, 2 to 4 cups, mostly unadorned, before early afternoon. That is the window where the evidence is strongest and the downsides are smallest. Nothing dramatic required.
Which is kind of the whole philosophy of this show, isn't it? The things that actually work are usually not that dramatic.
They rarely are. Though I will say, coffee might protect your telomeres is perhaps the most compelling reason to queue at a coffee shop I've encountered.
Y'all, thank you so much for spending this time with us on the Wellness Rhythm Show. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, leave us a review, share this with someone who needed a good reason to enjoy their morning cup. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone, and do enjoy your coffee.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.ai system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
Go to voxcreel.ai and request a sample episode.